what did you think of particularly the portrayal of the Aga? What did you think of the? What did you? Let's call them what
the Dora Milaje. Should we just call them that since you know how to pronounce it?
Because that was something that's actually been.
And that's why all of this is just it's a lot of it's mixed to put it kind. It's been mixed reception wise. Like
to be woke is to be aware of what is around you. The sufferings of others are included in that. How your actions affect other people are included in being woke. We got we got grandma over here undercutting the parents. That's what we got.
Grandma was sitting there hit the fuck up.
She was chilling on the
left, man. She was in a good mood.
Grandma was. That's basically, isn't that how grandparents are history? Like, they ain't my kids. Let me be wild.
But it also has given places where we can actually utilize it for journalism. We can use it for protest. We can use it to be able to get ideas to kind of coagulate a little bit better. How y'all doing? Thanks for joining us.
What's happening?
Gentlemen. How's everybody doing? Welcome everybody to the Historical Voices from the East Side. My name is History Williams, and I have this young brother right over here to that right side. Oh my gosh, this soul glow. Oh God, I just love the shadow effect. I don't know what the fuck is causing this, but this shit is making me feel like I'm fantastic. Oh, am I the meanest?
Show enough.
That's your ass. I'm keeping this effect on my head. I don't give a fuck. All right, with that, over there to that road side, man. I feel like I'm on Michael Jackson dance game. You remember how he had the one shiny glove? Yo, you never see that shit? Oh,
that was on the GameCube or whatever, the Wii or whatever.
Yeah. Michael Jackson had like a Just Dance version of the game. It was like the Michael Jackson experience. And he had that one glove while he danced. All right. Yeah. Nobody wants to be the career of that man. But yes, with that, it's fantastic. But yes. With that, my co-host over there, that is our Eastside reviewer. He does our movie reviews. He gets us updated on all the films and data that's out there. With that, give a round of applause for Mr. Jamel, aka the Eastside reviewer, Watson. Oh, a little bit louder. All right there. With that, we also do have a voice actor. He is a motivational speaker for himself in the mirror, and sometimes he look at his cats. He tells them, "Stop that bullshit." Every now and then, when it tries to climb up on the soundproof blankets and stuff like that in his room. Give a round of applause for our voice of reason, Jonathan, aka JT, the voice. Say the whole name. Say the whole name. With that, gentlemen, how y'all feeling today, man? Y'all good?
Friday Eve. Yeah. Oh, I'm good.
Friday. So this is not my Friday. This is actually my Wednesday. Tomorrow's my Thursday.
For you, brother.
Friday is Saturday for me. But I mean, while everybody's chilling, you mean going to work on Monday? I guess I'm at the crib, you know.
3-day weekend, baby.
Yeah,
3-day weekend.
3-day weekend.
Happy Juneteenth.
Oh fuck. That's a real thing. And you know what sucks is? I don't get a 3-day weekend. I don't get a 3-day weekend.
I mean, what's worse, a 3-day weekend or a Juneteenth sale?
Ooh.
Depends on where the sale is at.
Oh God. What if it was at Sears?
Like, I'm surprised we haven't gotten really.
They put.
It's like, I remember Chris Rock was on fucking Saturday Night Live, and he was just like preparing us for like 9/11 sales and shit like that. It's like, we haven't gotten to that quite to that point of greed and capitalism yet. Like you'll see fucking Walmart have the Juneteenth ice cream and shit, and it's just it pisses you off, but it's also like, of course they do that. Of course
they do.
It's another day to make money. But
see, the thing is, though, I just don't buy it. But there are people that do, and then they just perpetuate commercialism. You know what I'm saying? It took me so many years to figure out a Charlie Brown's Christmas. Chuck Schultz was ahead of the whole curve, man. She could get too commercial.
Yeah, Charlie Brown. They had this motivational speaker. He said that there's a way that like the system definitely does keep you down. He said, so let's start off from December. He said December 24th and 25th, obviously, is what? And you got Christmas, right?
Christmas Eve.
Yeah. And so then right after that, not even like 6 days later, you have whatchamacallit, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And then not too far after that, if they really wanted to get randy, they have Martin Luther King Day. And if you were to just still skip that, January would probably be the only safest month for you. But it's not that safe because of the fact that not too far after that, they got Valentine's Day. Not too far after that, you still have like St. Patty's Day. Not too far after that, you still got Easter and so many other holidays that it's just like commercialism. Spend your money in so many different ways. So it's always like the system is just constantly like digging in your pockets in some form or fashion, just to make sure that it kind of feels like you're financially being held down. And the only time that looks like it's a safe haven is usually March. And the reason why March and January is because of the fact of what time of year that is. Tax season.
Tax season.
Tax season.
It's cold outside. And you don't want to throw outdoor parties.
You fill out your paperwork, March it, and then all of a sudden April comes around and then all that shit comes out. That money.
Oh, you know what? I got the month where ain't no holiday for you to worry about. What? August.
There is a holiday. In August. That is a holiday for all humankind to come together and sing Kumbaya.
JT,
the white man ain't gonna give us the day off for that though.
Not yet.
JT, we ain't talking about your birthday. We ain't talking about your goddamn birthday. Damn it. Talk about Kumbaya. Fuck. There is a holiday in August. What is it? I'm about to say there's a holiday every month. And I do remember that when I was in the military, that was the one thing that we remember at least once a month. You had a 3-day weekend or a 4-day weekend, and I forgot what holiday is in August. It's Labor Day, right?
Boy, it's too bad we don't have a Google machine. No, there's no holiday. There's no real holiday in August.
It's just
the next holiday is Labor Day.
So as you see, I'm only concerned about the international holiday that is my birthday.
Oh my God!
I've celebrated it here. Yeah. I've celebrated it in Mexico. That makes it an international holiday.
Gotcha, Jamel.
Damn, that's actually something that I never thought about.
What?
August doesn't have any, like, there's no holidays in August. It's just like, wow.
Jamel,
every holiday has something.
And this is the first time you've ever thought about that. You've definitely had this thought before.
I honestly never thought about that. Like August, usually younger years, it's summer, so you're not really thinking about them holidays. And now that I'm older and working, unless I got a day off or getting some holiday pay, don't really think about them. Just like,
August is not a real.
You got shit in August.
August and July are not real months. That's why.
Slow down.
How you just gonna gloss over Independence Day like that?
August and July are not real months.
We know how they started history, but they're real. We were all born in those months. What are you talking? That makes them real. You just out here dismissing your own birthday history. Are you okay?
According to the calendar, I'm born in September. Fall birthday.
You had one of them leap months, huh?
Yeah, leap year.
Well, here's the thing.
Leap year's October.
The Romans, according to Julius Caesar and Augustus,
Cleopatra,
August and July are a month. That's some gangster shit, though. Where it's just like, nah, I want a whole month named after me. That is a gangster thing.
It was apparently it was created by Cleopatra, And the idea was pitched by Julius Caesar because of the fact that he was a male and he can get away with those things because, you know, patriarchy. So with that, man, we were born in
since you brought up Cleopatra, did y'all hear about that how people in Egypt are kind of pissed at this new Netflix movie that Cleopatra is going to be played by essentially a black woman, and they're saying that that's not reflective of who Cleopatra actually was, because she was Greek, and even though she was, you know, born and raised in Egypt, she was, of course, from Greek descent. Have y'all heard about that?
All the Greek people I know have a nice shade of beige to them. So
yeah, it is, and of course, you know, we got the Greek freak, we got Giannis, so
he dark as a
it's
mug
one of
too.
those. It's one of those things where it's like, were y'all complaining during Gods of Egypt when you had very Egyptian looking Christian Bale in that movie, or you had or in that other one where very Egyptian looking Gerard Butler was in one? Like, come on, man. Gerard Butler is about as Greek as I am Chinese. Like, that's just stupid.
Apparently, if you draw a line around somebody's eye with eyeliner and then you pull that mug out straight to the side and you make it like, you know, like the bottom of an eye, that's Egyptian. That's all you got to do to be Egyptian in Hollywood. You know,
well, you got to think about it. The same thing with like Moses. Wasn't that the same thing with Christian Bale being Moses at one point?
But look, all of these are
Mediterranean
countries.
That's the movie
Here's the thing: they're all Mediterranean countries. They're all on the same sea.
Yeah.
So people would have been on boats back and forth plenty. And so it's really not that big of a stretch to think that, oh, Cleopatra might have been from Greece, but there definitely could have been some mixing of her family background in those other darker countries. So this is not really a stretch of the imagination. I know you got a lot of people clutching their pearls at this one, but I mean, if you go watch Bridgerton and you don't, you just let that fly, then you ain't got no excuse complaining about nothing else.
Yeah, Bridgerton.
I mean, Hollywood is wild.
Let's talk about that.
John Wayne played Genghis Khan in the movie. Like John Wayne is that Mongolian looking fella played Genghis Khan. So it's just nothing new. It's nothing new, but it's cool when the whites do it.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, man, because this was a question that was really asked to me. So I feel like y'all kind of know my background a little bit, but I want to hear your perspective. Have y'all seen the movie Soul?
Yes.
Yep.
That's a Disney movie. So I was talking to someone because they found out that there was a podcast that existed, and we talked about the Little Mermaid movie and asked how I felt about the Little Mermaid movie and also the movie Soul. And I think we did a brief review of Soul last year. I want to say we did.
Me and you did. That was Soul was what, 2021? It was. I think it was before Jake. It was before JT
joined on. Yeah, I want to say we reviewed it, man. But like Soul, I had my problems with Soul, and it was not the fact that it was not a good movie. It's the fact that the movie's message was far off to me. And so we did that. I'm probably gonna dig for it and something like that. But with that,
we did.
We did. I think I want to say that I'm 100% sure we did it because I remember talking about this. So I'm gonna ask you real fast your perspective of Soul. How did you feel about the movie Soul, JT, from what you can remember?
So Soul was an uninspired vision of the supernatural. It really felt like it was a movie written by atheist or agnostic folks who really didn't think, too much about the great beyond or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I found it just a little unimaginative. Now, of course, a lot of other people who never actually gave no thought to it was like, oh, this movie's so great, mind-blowing, you know. I think it's kind of funny. I also had a dad who looked pretty much like that. You know what I'm saying? Jazz guy, plays the piano, mustache, hat, glasses, the whole works. So it was cool to see somebody look like Pops, go through the whole thing. I thought Jamie Foxx did a good job. But ultimately, I really just felt like these people didn't have a lot of thinkings about the supernatural or how these things actually worked, because they just kind of made it like, oh, it's just an office building,
Yeah.
That was essentially what it translated to, and I think that's whack and unimaginative.
Fair enough. What about you, Jamel?
Ooh, from what I now, Jesus, that
I
was
know
2
that
years
I know it's
ago.
pulling. I know it's pulling something now.
It,
Like making you think a little
man,
bit more. Not
My
really.
review in that
from
movie
what
was
I remember, it was decent, but not like anywhere close to what Pixar is capable of at their best. Like, I thought
Correct.
it's something that
and
I'm
didn't that
not that
follow up
it left no
Inside Out?
impact. Like it left no impact in my opinion. Like if you asked me to compare Soul to Pixar's Library, it's like, I don't even know if that should make the top 5. Like it doesn't even make the top 10 in my opinion. Like it's just very mid tier.
So
That's true.
it
So
was in
what?
2020. Oh dang!
Yeah, it
I
was.
thought Inside
Yes,
Out
sir.
was much better and much more imaginative. And so when
Pixar
you got
Soul.
Pixar's animation, like they really kind of dive into the way things work in other world, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But like Monsters Inc., they had these doors and stuff, and that was far more interesting than what they did with Soul. It was pretty
Yeah.
forgettable. Big void over here for some people, but then I guess you just fall. Nobody else thought to fall over. It's the first time this ever happened. There's no protocol for it. Whack.
Yeah. So here, my biggest thing was, I know that like the big controversy of it was the transformation, representation with transformation was the big thing. So yes, we have Black people in the film, but they have to turn into some type of animal or some type of other thing to be a character in a film. So think about Princess in the Frog, or obviously think of Soul. And so, or even more recent, which was like Toy Story, was it 4 or Toy Story 3? Toy Story 4, 4. That was the fourth one. That was the one with Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele. And so you have this representation, yes, of these people who are supposed to be relatively Black characters, but then they have to be transformed to some type of animal. And the conversation came up about Little Mermaid as well, and I was very much so honest about it. I don't have a problem with Little Mermaid if her dad was Black. So that was like one of my
Right.
that was one of my biggest caveats. If you're gonna have a parent and stuff like that, dad needs to be, dad also, if he's gonna be represented in the film, he needs to also be a Black guy too. And so that did not happen. And so I felt like the movie does not do well with representation. And I felt the same way with Soul. Soul did not do well with representation. And the first, like one of the first few movies that you have where they have this story that's basically saying follow your dreams as the main headliner character. In the middle of the movie, everybody's telling him pivot when he finally got his dreams kind of achieved. And I don't know if y'all caught that message. Did y'all catch that message at all?
When he's in the middle of the movie, instead of following your dreams, do what?
Basically, you got to be okay with pivoting. You should have been happy with the shit that you already had previously.
That ain't for real. Like, oh, stop reaching for the stars.
That's what
Stay
that
in your
movie
lane.
felt like it said.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
It felt like it said
all
it.
All that.
Yeah, it felt like that. He finally got it. He got the job that he wanted. He dies. And then all he does is try his best to kind of like find a way to get back to Earth and to get this gig and do this one thing that he's always wanted to do. And basically the movie spends this whole time basically saying like, you should have been appreciative of the life that you were having at that point in time.
And it really got to the point where it was his culmination.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get to enjoy his culmination.
Yes.
They should have given him that. They should have given him that moment. And that's what's really foul. They should have given him that moment, and then he died on the way back. You know what I'm saying? Going home. It was dark. No, it was broad daylight.
Broad daylight. Yeah. He was so busy celebrating that he got that moment. He wasn't paying attention to it, and he fell into a half-covered manhole. And I just felt like, what kind of representation was that? And what kind of like message were you trying to show
was he
kids?
Even in the ghetto, I thought he was just walking down the regular street. If you had seen graffiti everywhere, it would have been a little different. Some broken bottles around. You'd expect the manhole to be open a little.
But I'm curious, can you even die from the man? Like I don't want to find out, but I wonder, would you die from falling down a manhole cover, or would you just like break your legs?
I just assumed he couldn't swim.
Okay, so yeah. as a person who went through Hurricane Katrina and seen somebody really die through a manhole, I'm going to say yes. Even with full water, you can die in a manhole. Because yeah, so it is possible to do such a thing. But it was the fact of the randomness of the death. That's the part. You're a Pixar film and you're trying to teach a lesson. And I felt like that lesson was not taught, at least to a specific demographic that you were trying to address it to. So I felt like it was like we were running into a brick wall with that film. And so I was told by a person, man, that I think too deeply into these movies, and that these movies don't really need some real thoughts. So I decided to turn to the voice of reason and the biggest movie reviewer over here and ask y'all this question, man. Do you feel like the movies that we review or the movies that like we try to talk about don't need that much thought into
it? Are you thinking this because you watched this week's movie?
No, but this week's movie definitely has, yes. Which, by the way, our Velvet Freight Train is still Spike Lee for the month, but no, it's not because of that. This is we still are celebrating 40 Acres on the Mule month, and we definitely picked a movie for Spike Lee. No, I'm asking this question because of the fact that I felt a little bit like you're not putting enough thought into this movie, and I think that the person came from a place of privilege of not thinking about this movie deeply, because this was a Caucacity person. This is one of other halves of JT's ancestors that I was having this conversation with. So I'm asking that question to y'all.
Hold up, freeze frame, bro. Chances are you also have some Caucasian in your background.
Oh no, I got 15%, and I'm not happy about it.
So why you be calling me out, dog? There's parts of you back there too. That's why you can't be too critical of white people, because you are part one.
It's also because you're light skinned, and I think that's why he called you out.
See, that's colorist.
Yes, and also on top of that, you say that you're the African. You're the one that said that. You're the one that brought that to the
right. I said it. That's my word. Why are you using our word? Your kids can use it, but you cannot, Mr. Full Blood.
Bro, isn't that like our version of "Don't you say nigga"?
I just feel like if you make it, you can say it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I mean, but I'm asking you though, like for real, do you think that these movies don't?
So listen, I'm dead ass when I say this, bro. That was the only way I could enjoy going back through the MCU. I had to stop thinking about the movie and just turn my brain off. Just movie. Yeah. It was hard. It was difficult. I hate doing it.
Yeah.
When I watch a movie, I like to think about, the way that they shoot the film. And, I look at the camera sweeps and stuff, and I think, oh, I want to be on that boom riding the camera. You know what I'm saying? Where they sweep away like they did at the gravestone in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like, to not have these ideas of like, how did they shoot this film? And then what I do when I ask myself these questions is I essentially judge the decisions that the movie made to be made. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And so like I'm looking at how the director did some stuff. I'm looking at why these writers decided that was the best line. Who changed this and watered it down over here? Because this is some, as Cornell said, milk toast type of language. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things some superhero movies miss, but you just can't think about it too much, man. It's just a superhero. But all these superheroes do is punch things. They don't never get super logical with people and tell them the truth in a way that they can accept. They don't change somebody's worldview by jarring them with reason or compassion. And that's why those movies are ultimately useless to me. They're bad. They're just not good. And then they're not going to hold up in time, because anything with a moral to it is going to be, well, quite possibly more polarizing, as we see with all of the 40 Acres films. Anything with the moral to it, you got a lot of people who are going to argue about the moral.
Yes.
And sometimes, the moral of Scarface was don't get high on your own supply. You know what I'm saying? Scarface is not like life goals.
Yes.
But people who didn't think about the movie too much, they was all putting Scarface up on the wall and stuff, talking about I'm Tony Montana.
Yeah, and so what about you, Jamel? Before we go,
For me, it depends on the movie itself. For example, you don't have to think watching any of the Jackass movies. You enjoy
true.
you. It's either for you to enjoy the content or it's not for you. For me, I think because of me like doing the little movie reviews, I force myself to think a little deeper on some of these subjects. It's like, all right, what message are you trying to send? What are you trying to do? Even for animated movies, whether that's animated Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, I think it's almost in a way a lazy way to look at movies if you're just like, well, just turn your brain off and have fun. And if you can't think deeper about that, then it's like imagine eating nothing but cotton candy. Like it's just sugar. Like you'll get a little bit of energy, but you'll crash. You got to throw in some carrots. You got to throw in apples every once in a while. You got to throw in stuff that's healthy for you. I think if you as a consumer can't think about anything, it's just junk food to you. You're not really nourishing yourself as a viewer, as a consumer, as anything, because you are deciding to eat unhealthily and you're deciding to basically malnourish yourself of any type of perspective. You can think a little bit deeper on something like on movies that are based, like for example, Predator. You can think a little bit deeper on Predator. You can think a little bit deeper on the Rocky movies. Like it's not just, for example, Rocky franchise. It's not just a sports movie. It's it's layered. It's stuff it's life that's about that movie. And I think that if you can't think deeper about movies, or if you refuse to, you're really doing yourself a disservice. And I think that's why these live action remakes of Disney movies are so harmful, because they're adding nothing. They're not feeding you entertainment wise. They're not doing anything. They're not providing you anything.
Correct.
It's just, all right, we're going to give you the same shit that we gave you. Like, oh, you loved Little Mermaid when you were a kid. Well, here's Little Mermaid, but with live action. And it's belittling to the art of animation. It's belittling to these fields. It's belittling to the art of filmmaking. Sometimes you gotta think deeper. And if you always accept just, well, I'm gonna turn my brain off to watch this, I'm gonna turn my brain off to watch that, you're gonna get shit. So what is that? So you as a consumer have to think a little bit deeper.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Like
one more gripe.
Even with something.
Go ahead, finish.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, even with the Fast and the Furious franchise, there's a little bit something there. Now, the reason why I hate the last few movies is because there's nothing. It is what critics have been falsely accusing the series of for years. It's just a bunch of noise, a bunch of car stuff, and there's nothing to it. That's what these last few movies have been, and that's disappointing. If you go back and you just examine the series and you think a little bit critically, there's something there for you. So just think a little bit more about the stuff that you're watching, because you can get
the Fast and the Furious movies were always the Fast movies were always about family. And when Paul Walker died, it was really difficult to keep that going, especially since the movie acted like he was still alive. So it ruined itself. Like it went over on itself. They needed to stop and mourn the fact that Paul Walker was gone. They should have had him, in my opinion, they should have written him into a car crash. And then somebody crashed his car when they were racing. He died that way. But it was a hit, and now they spend the rest of the movie chasing down the MFs individually. And they got the first movie, they got the guy who hit him with the car at the end of it. Then they go to the guy who paid him. Then they go to the guy who ordered the payment to go through. And that's how Fast 10 or whatever. That would have been how I would have written the mess, to end it. Because it was always about
I would have just ended at the 7. I would have just ended at the 7. 7 ends on such
Jamel, the problem
satisfied with, and it's like
what is
they're
happening?
too damn greedy and it's money.
No, that's exactly what it is. They're too greedy, but the problem is there's an audience for it. So what you got is we are basically being trained to be fat cats. fat cows. We got a freaking tube shoved in our mouth of Disney content, and if we don't swallow all of the stuff that they spill, we gonna fall out of pace with everything in the universe.
So,
and they call it the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so if you are out of pace with the universe, you out of step. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going to happen. Secret War's coming, man.
To pile onto that, it's WALL-E. We are becoming, like, with the way that the content is going, bro. We're becoming the people in WALL-E.
Yep.
We're becoming lazier as viewers, and the writer's strike is still going on. We're going to get some basura.
ChatGPT gonna make all the new Netflix movies coming out in 2020.
They're gonna try and rush some of this shit, and it's just which kind of leads to the first story that I shared.
Or you could just pay people what they're worth. Do that, Disney.
That's too easy, dog. That's complicated.
JT, come on. Like, let's
come on. I'm disappointed at you.
I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn if you think that's gonna happen. Come on, JT.
I'm disappointed in you trying to use. I'm disappointed in you, JT, trying to make sure that you use logic and humanitarian beliefs. You do not do that. Don't you do that on this podcast ever again. Don't you ever talk about paying the people what they deserve. Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Don't you pay?
That's all, folks. We done that.
Well,
What you was talking about turning your brain off is one thing. And I think we get fed a lot of that. Yeah. But you cannot make a movie based solely off of subtext. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a lot of movies that are like, oh, but did you think of the subtext? Well, but you should have wrote it into the film a little bit. Yeah. But you have all this juicy dripping subtext, but all you get is people's like what they derive from what you said, from what happened. You know what I mean? I saw Kill Bill guy, Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, he was talking about the subtext of Reservoir Dogs was a father-son thing, because the cop was like, take me in. He was like, no, I can't. You're gonna go to jail. And he was like, it's okay, I'm a cop, but he couldn't say it. You know what I mean? But it was a father-son dynamic, and I was like, that's a reach. But if you have to like define a relationship with two characters, that would be what you would pull from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like, you're not going to convince me to go back and watch the movie like, oh, and here's the cop trying to shuttle the bad crooks and do these. It's not going to be a father-son film. That might have been a father-son type of scene, but that would just be based off of the relationship of the writing. But that doesn't make a movie good. You don't get to have a bunch of subtext and have nothing actually happen. Or if you do make something happen, you can't just be like, well, there was subtext of Daenerys's father went crazy, I guess. Like it's not, you didn't write it into the show, and you just pulled that mug out. Was like, you should have read the subtext.
Yeah, I would say, like, I kind of felt like I didn't feel offended, but I kind of felt like I wanted to look at this person and be like, oh, you are really like willing to eat a lot of shit when it comes to what's on your screen. That's what I felt like.
There's a lot of people out there like that.
Because they write these films for the purpose of you thinking, right? Or to be able to feel
which
like
films do you say?
So the films that was kind of like was brought up in the conversation was, like I said, Little Mermaid and Soul. Those are the two that was mostly brought up. Those films were written for the purpose of kind of like, I want you to feel something. I want you to think of something. In the case of Little Mermaid, I'm pretty sure that they did a few edits like Aladdin did when they came out with the live action Aladdin, but to fit the narrative that now Haley Bailey is now a Black Little Mermaid, right? So I'm pretty sure that they wrote it with the context that, like, hey, we have to write this film so somebody can think deep into it and think that we're trying to do some type of representation behind it. And it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that at all. I feel like those films lose. Yes, some of them feel great, and when you watch them, but as far as the actual source, it's a whole lot of nothing. I think Jamel kind of hit on it. Cotton Candy definitely does good, but after a while, you realize it's just fucking sugar.
It's so lazy. It's the problem that I have with, again, live action Disney is something that I have a problem with because
I do gripe with them.
It's just you're recycling this laziness, and it's just what really like if you've seen the original animated Little Mermaid in this one, what really is different? And there's a cowardice to what Disney does with these live action movies because it's like, all right, we're not gonna change this. We're not gonna change anything. We're not gonna tell a different perspective. We're not gonna switch up the story. We're just gonna do the same shit we did, and it's just different medium, and that's it. And I don't want to besmirch Halle Bailey. From what I've heard, she did a really good job. Her voice is great, but you can't convince me that you couldn't have used these resources to do a different idea. It's why the Mufasa prequel that's coming out is interesting because it's like, okay, well, what are y'all gonna do with the story of Mufasa? I'm curious.
Milk it.
At the end of the
I
day,
can tell you that much.
Or what they'll do, and this is also something that I hate. It's also something that I really hate. They make unnecessary changes. Like the Lion King from 2019, to me, that is the absolute worst one because of the changes that they made. And Jesus Christ, Beyonce and Donald Glover, they seem like their voice performances, they wanted to be anywhere else on this planet of Earth, but in those booths recording their lines. It was terrible, but we've been on this history. Take on the show. We haven't even begun proper yet.
We haven't done anything proper. So let's go and we got to make sure we pay some homage and acknowledge our Velvet Freight Train of the motherfucking week. Big shout outs to this homie. He has done so many films, and I want to give him.
We did this last week. People know it's Spike Lee. He's the Velvet Freight Train of the month.
He's the Velvet Freight Train of the month. We got to give him his Velvet Freight Train of the month, man. Give this man his Velvet Freight Train of the month. Oh, wrong one. This is the Velvet Freight Train of the month. Big shout outs to Spike Lee. Guy is Academy Award winner. He's done so many different things to be able to actually open up the doors for people in cinema, film, actor, director, producer, philanthropist. Don't invite him to the Knicks game because they won't win again if he does come in there. But big shout out to the motherfucking Velvet Freight Train of the week, Mr. Spike Lee. Now, if you do not know, if you haven't been paying attention, Spike Lee has been our guy that we have been doing all of our films this month. We are doing a 40 Acres on the Mule themed month this month, and we are focusing on all Spike Lee films, the ones that he directed, written, and put out there for us. So far, we have done Black Klansman. Today we're doing actually He Got Game. So hopefully this goes well. Now, last week we talked about the bad. Now we're going to talk about the actual not so bad, more so the philanthropy. So Spike Lee has actually had some philanthropy plans that he's been doing. He's actually been adopting a couple of other filmmakers and also like writers, been taking them under his wing to make sure that I actually get him to actually have the career. He even had a couple of other plans. I want to say that the Spike Lee Fellows, that's the name of the program as well. So he has done some philanthropy and actually out there in the film world. But that also doesn't go beyond the fact of how much he actually donated to actual like events like Hurricane Katrina as well. He's done documentaries, and a lot of those things have become a version of his actual philanthropy as well. So with that, Jamal, I'm going to ask you just a simple question right here, man. When you think about a person who actually takes care of their actual people and have given the opportunity to others, do you think that that's a way to pay it forward for the luck that you had and the blessings that you had to be in the position that you are? Or do you think that, like, honestly, we don't need to do something like that at all? Do you think that we just need to say, hey, like, I mean, I made it, forget about you in the past?
That's a very
direct question, but some people feel that way. Some people do feel that way.
I was gonna say, I'm trying to think of a person to put down and be like, ooh, that is some shit that such and such would say. But if you have been successful, you should want to help other people. I think you see that in a lot of examples. Like there are a lot of celebs, like for example, Eddie Murphy is one of them. I'm gonna try and pull people up. Like if you go back and you watch Eddie Murphy's movies, you'll see young roles from people like Damon Wayans, like Chris Rock, putting on Martin Lawrence, putting on a lot of people like Boomerang put on John Witherspoon. Wasn't supposed to be in the movie, brought him on, had one of the most memorable parts of it. And like, if you don't do it, who else is going to do it? Like, I remember, hearing on one of these sports podcasts, someone talking about Magic Johnson and how Magic Johnson would always donate and try and give to the United Negro College Fund because he felt that if I don't do it, who's going to do it? And I think you see that with people who really want to make a difference, and you see that with the best of us. Like, they at least try and give a damn about, hey, let me try and pull some other people up. And it's something that I respect. And I think if you have that ability, and if you are able to, pull people up if you can. Pull the right people up too. Like, some people you gotta lead where they're at, but help when you can. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a responsibility that you need to have at that point in time, to actually bring somebody up with you in some form of fashion to keep that your form of, like, I guess you would say, generational wealth going. With that, JT, now I'm gonna ask you a kind of a different question. Who has been some of the people that you watched that's been in film that brought other people along? So I know that we did films with Martin Lawrence. We did, obviously we've been doing the Spike Lee films as well. Who are some of the other people that maybe?
What's kind of funny is a lot of bad movies are folks who is just trying to bring people along. They didn't get the right person. They got somebody who they was trying to give a little come up to, and their production suffered because of it. So you got, I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of black movies out there like that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Ice Cube and Mike Epps, ad-libbing the majority of, Friday After Next. Just, I mean, because they just, we can just do it with peoples. We'll just get peoples together. We'll just have a good show.
Yes.
And then they put that out. That's what you happy with? Oh man. Yeah. So like you see it often. I don't know a lot of people's reputation because I really don't give a crap about celebrities or Hollywood. I think people are just people, and these folks have a job to do. And so anybody who's good to whoever they do business with, those are, usually the folks that you want to do business with too. And like, those are usually the productions that work out well because people know that they're getting taken care of. So if you got these writers out here on strike, that not enough people are bringing people along.
Mm-hmm.
But these writers, man, I've been researching the ways that they get paid. Like, I'm happy I didn't fly out there and try to start writing, because that would have been a struggle. And
it is.
Man, I'll tell you, I have some good ideas for like Always Sunny in Philadelphia sketches and stuff, and just it'd be fun to write. Get in a room with a bunch of funny people and do that, but. If I knew who brought people along, I'll have to find that person and then do them a solid and then wait around. You know what I mean? But I think that it's right to bring people along when you can. But if you want your stuff to be right, you also got to make sure you got the right person for the job. But definitely check your Rolodex first.
Agreed, man. Candy in the chat said Adam Sandler, the people who did Super Trooper, as well as Seth Rogen.
Bro, Adam Sandler is the most I'm gonna look out for my niggas person in
he's the only reason Rob Schneider was ever relevant.
Bro, Rob Schneider, like,
I'm sorry,
as long as Adam Sandler is making movies, Rob Schneider gonna have jobs. David Spade, I like David Spade and some stuff. Like, he gonna always have Steve, even people who you wouldn't expect, like, dog, you don't have to do these movies, but they must fuck with Adam Sandler heavy because Steve Buscemi, John Turturro, Kathy Bates, all three of them are good Oscar level type actors, but they will always do Adam Sandler shit because Adam Sandler apparently is very good with people, and he's one of them celebrities that, like, he has that good reputation. Seth Rogen, he's like that in a lot of ways. Judd Apatow, he'll always work with a lot of the same people too, and you can see it if the stuff is Adam Sandler like that was a good pull from Cam. It's like, god damn.
Yeah.
Only reason Rob Schneider is able to make his rent is because he was boys with Adam Sandler. Like, that is a good pull.
So one of my people that I follow heavily when it comes to podcasting is Kevin Smith, And Kevin Smith is another person that pulls like a lot of the same people in all the time. And I mean, everything from like, you gotta think about like Ben Affleck for sure. He pulled Ben Affleck. He was like, I'm gonna drag you with me until Ben Affleck surpassed him. And then all of a sudden now Ben Affleck is like, it's a special treat when Ben Affleck shows up on a Kevin Smith film, you know what I mean? But like,
he used to be a regular.
He used to be a regular on this shit. Yeah,
Ben Affleck.
Chasing Amy was one of the big ones for him. Yep.
That's a fascinating career in life. That been some white dude from Boston is smashing Jennifer Lopez probably right now as we speak, and he's got an Oscar. He was kind of a shitty actor, then he became a good actor. He is a
It's really like he received feedback well, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody told, hey, you were kind of shit in that Daredevil movie. How about you improve? All right, and he did. Somehow he did.
You know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna write my Daredevil film. I'm gonna write my Daredevil film and star in it. Argo.
You know what's crazy? If Ben Affleck wrote and directed a Daredevil movie, I actually think it would be.
It would be so good. It would be so good.
He's like a good like The Town is a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like it's a Boston hood movie, and it's fun seeing shitty white people in a hood. Like that's a fun. That's why I like 8 Mile. It's like, look at this trailer trash that Eminem is. Like, it's a fun time. It is. Like, so this is why y'all feel like this when you watch. This is why y'all like Boys in the Hood. It's just like, oh wow, watching them
to
be
the zoo,
violent.
except they gave all the animals cocaine.
Yeah,
this is the highlight reel of this hood, not the actual story. You know, it's easier to accept if you get into those kind of spirits.
Yes. So can we admit though one thing, bro? After thinking about it and after some long overdue criticism, Ben Affleck can't do superheroes well.
No, we cannot.
He cannot do
Why
superheroes.
do you think that is?
I feel like he's too broken. Sometimes in his character. It's okay for him to be like that dark and kind of like stale character.
But he got to balance it with some driven.
And he has to be.
I'm gonna be honest, y'all.
He did work out like an introvert in that Batman film, didn't he?
Yes.
I'll die on the hill that the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman is like actually beyond watchable. I think it's like actually a good movie. The Martha stuff is still one of them things which is like, why you put that in there? Zack Snyder is another person who he makes the movies and people make a bigger deal of them than they actually should. Like, I think Zack Snyder is not like, there's no subtext to what Zack Snyder does. He just this will look cool in the movie, and that's
one of the problems. He has zero subtext, zero. And on the other spectrum, what's a movie that's all subtext? Memento.
Some shit from Christopher Nolan. Ooh,
Fences felt like it was all subtext.
Yeah. Fences is a real good one.
Yeah.
Tenet feels like it fits in that category. When we go have that conversation that Christopher Nolan he's kind of falling off. I think
kind of fall off, man. I'm surprised that you
hold on. Look. Hold on. False.
After Interstellar, I'm not.
First off, Interstellar was great. Okay.
After Interstellar
was a straight masterpiece. There, I said it. Masterpiece. It was a well done movie. Very confusing topic, but they broke it down to a way you could understand by the end of the film, just like he did with Inception. Okay. Now, Tenet had audio problems. That was one of the biggest issues with the movie. You couldn't understand what the fuck was going on. So how could you understand what the fuck was going on if you couldn't hear it?
God,
I can't understand what's going on, so I don't know what's going on. It instantly made the movie like 2 points worse because you just don't know what to crap. Like, I know they're talking about something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Movie's filmed on a boomerang, on a Mobius strip. But still, 1927, right? That was the World War I movie. And that mug was like, if you were a fly on the wall during this film. And that was not a good movie per se. Like, it wasn't an Oscar-winning movie. But that mess felt like you were really there. And it felt like you were looking over somebody's shoulder, as he intended to do. And so even though you're not going in, you're not getting the big cinematic Saving Private Ryan, that shit felt like you were a part of the action, which I thought was a complete success. And then, what, you got something to say?
Jason,
history blanks, you choose your words carefully.
Yes. Candy said the same thing about the tenant thing, because he works at a theater. They specifically got notes saying that they got to play it at a very high volume. So, for example, we normally play movies at 5.5. They had to play Tenet at 8.5 volume. So yeah, that's a lot of editing that you got to do post, and you that you making somebody do that shit.
He needed to buy some better plugins. That's what that was.
Yes,
or he bought a plugin and the plugin screwed him. One of them two.
They didn't want to play lower. God damn. All right.
But like, do you offset the bass then in that case? Because the bass would be what wreck your eardrums.
That'd be a good question. Because that's what people were trying to tell me to go see Tenet for, because oh man, the audio sounded amazing. And I was like, yeah.
And some movies do have great audio. For instance, Get Out. I tell you, if you watch Get Out on a properly calibrated surround sound, it adds so much. It heightens the movie so well.
Yeah.
Like it heightens the hair on the back of your neck, y'all. It just worked great. And so if you don't have the sound right, the sound is telling you the story. And that's one of the reasons why you need to pay your friggin' interns. So they take your stuff seriously like it matters.
History, that should be the subtitle of this. Pay people pay them right. Speaking of movies, me and History saw Transformers: Rise of the Beast, and I really enjoyed that movie.
I dug it.
We're not gonna spoil anything for y'all who haven't seen it. The one thing is like, damn, not all the Maximals were in the movie, but for me, we didn't get as much humans as we have with the Michael Bay movies. Bumblebee was a good start with reducing the humans. This movie, it was 80% robots, 20% humans. I think if we can get to the next Transformers movie, we get that to about 95 robots and then 5% people. I think we got a bona fide winner. But yeah,
like the third act of Godzilla versus Kong. That's what we need. We need the third act.
We don't need people. Humans don't need to be in these. If I'm going to see Transformers, King Kong, God, I don't want to be around people that much. Show me the monsters. Like, you can have a little bit, but show me the monsters. Show me the robots. That's why I'm here. I ain't here for the fucking meat bags. Give me the robots. And I love this one. Like Ron Perlman, as Optimus Prime. Tubi. If you got Tubi, Beast Wars is on Tubi. Watch Beast Wars.
Yes, bravo.
They really need to do a remaster of Beast Wars, man. Come back with if you get some updated graphics on that mess, that you could do it. Honestly, you could do frame for frame. You could do story for story and make that mess an anime. That would be dope.
The 90s did such a good job.
To go back and watch that low resolution CGI that they done made Beast Wars with. And let me tell you, Beast Wars is an incredible show. I just need this remaster to come through somehow. Somebody run that through Blender right quick, okay?
Yes.
Honestly, like where we're at right now with since brought up Beast Wars, the 90s did a good job of expanding what kids' cartoons could be from a narrative perspective, because you had, in that one decade, you had Batman the animated series, you had X-Men the animated series that stepped stuff up. Gargoyles is fucking classic. You got Beast Wars. Like, from a narrative perspective, the 80s is where like the idea of the Saturday morning cartoon and shit came from. But from a narrative perspective, from making you actually shit where it can be entertaining to kids, and now as an adult, I can go back and still get enjoyment out of it and love for it. The 90s is where it really was like an elevation of what cartoons in America could be.
You know what? I know Candy just said reboot, because I was thinking about reboot as well. Reboot definitely needs to be done some justice. They really fucked over reboot on Netflix, where they made these human kids and they made them basically Power Rangers. But I'm gonna bring up a deeper one, and they tried to redo it in the late 90s, early 2000s. Would y'all like to see a Johnny Quest fucking movie? And I felt like Tom Holland would have been better instead of Uncharted. A Johnny Quest fucking movie would have been amazing. especially when they did the 3D version of it, where he tapped into the VR every now and again, and he still was going on adventures.
The real Johnny Quest Adventures.
The real Johnny Quest Adventures.
I think it was on Fox. It was either Fox Kids or it was on Fox Kids with.
Are you sure? I thought it was
Cartoon Network. It could work. It was on one of them. Like it. I think it could work. I think you just need a committed director, and I think like with most things, you need
rewrite Haji. You have to rewrite Haji, but that's
you can't. Yeah, that's true. You gotta be respectful. Like some stuff, you kind of need to update. Like, hey, let's not make him a caricature. But even then, it could work. Like I think it could work if you put the effort in. Like,
Johnny Quest did get a reboot. It was called The Venture Bros.
Oh, I get what you're fucking saying. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Wait, is that like legit?
It's a parody. It's a parody of it.
It's Venture Bros is hilarious.
Venture Bros is
I really want to get into Venture Bros now because in the Venture Bros movie coming out, like I've never like sat down and actually watched it.
I think I got 2.5 seasons left, but this show is just. The problem is I can't like go to sleep to it, but that's like usually my time to just put on whatever. And so I put on the Venture Bros and I sit up watching 3 episodes cracking up because I'm not going to sleep because this shit is funny. And so Patrick Warburton is like he's Brock Sampson.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just this, like roided out. He's friggin' the White Black Dynamite with his blonde mullet.
Yeah.
he goes hard, bro. So if you like Johnny Quest, then watch that mess, and it's a great parody.
Yeah. That's actually
also watch Mike Tyson Mysteries. It's unrelated, but watch Mike Tyson Mysteries too. R.I.P. Norm Macdonald.
Oh my god,
dog! That might be my favorite celebrity based like cartoon based like because celebrities should just get those throughout the 80s and 90s. They're just like, hey. Here's Mr. T in a cartoon. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Real, but they just put him in there. And so let me tell you one of the reasons why them 90s
Hulk Hogan had a cartoon.
Let me tell you one of the reasons why them 90 cartoons was the best is because they took it seriously. And they didn't think like, hey, we're making this for kids, so it doesn't matter. Because I tell you what, I'll try to watch some of these kids' movies with the bad CGI, and this stuff sounds like it was written by Chat GPT. It is no education, like no lesson, you know what I'm saying? And it's just bad. But the other movies is like, we're going to tell a story, and we're going to tell a Batman story that you could sell in a comic book and have it not be censored. You can put it on TV and everybody's going to be happy with it. But it wasn't necessarily marketed to kids. It was a real Batman outing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so they found a way to do it in such a perfectly balanced film, whereas a lot of people they always try to get too gritty with the subject matter. And that's one of the reasons why Zack Snyder stuff sucks is because all he understands is grit and lens flare.
That's true.
Hey, real quick, shout out to Trail, our co-host for the Island of Irrelevancy Trail. These are for you.
Oh, wow. We're being rude. Okay. Screw you, Trell, for reasons unknown. I'm got to side with the squad. You must have done something wrong, sir.
That's our relationship, apparently.
I've been,
apparently.
I've been an innocent bystander on this whole thing, bro. I've been an innocent. It started off with me and Jamel beefing. Because when I first started talking to Jamel, it was when we was talking about the whole situation with fucking Pain and Gain. So my very first few conversations was me and Jamel like arguing about Pain and Gain in the fucking chat. And ever since then, it hasn't even been me, bro. It's been just Jamel and Trail just at each other's throat and talk about how each other hate shit. Just in the fucking chat. So I've just been an innocent bystander throughout this whole process, bro. And I'm here for it. I'm here for this black on black violence.
And then we'll have like actual conversations about stuff. He'll bring up a good idea. I'm like, good idea.
We all continue to cuss out Trail. I'm gonna make some tea right quick before we get into this film.
Well, actually, I'm gonna ask a silly question for Jamel.
Let's do some promotion.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's true. We can do a little promotion. Island of Irrelevancy returns on the final Wednesday of the month, June the 28th. We are going to be previewing WWE Money in the Bank 2023.
Yes.
So far, the field for Money in the Bank 2023, it is about as wide open as it's been in like at least a decade. For the men, we got LA Knight, yeah. We got Butch, we got Shinsuke Nakamura, we got Ricochet, we got Santos Escobar, and we got Damian Priest. For the women, Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bailey, Io Scott, and one final spot to be determined. So those matches are going to be very interesting. Also taking place, we're going to have Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio and Seth Rollins defending the world title, the consolation prize against Finn Balor. So it should be, though there are probably going to be some more matches announced. But right here on this channel, and starting, of course, in July, we're going to be on youtube.com/HV or youtube.com/@HVFE podcast.
Yes.
So be on the lookout there. Subscribe to us over there. And yeah, we are gearing up for here on Historical Voices. We are gearing up for our movie review of the week. JT should be back momentarily, but history.
We actually got another podcast, actually, part of a Narrative Media as well.
Go right ahead and promote that.
Which is Fuck Around and Find Out. That's actually hosted by Tammy Garrett and her husband, Mr. Robert. Man, these people have been fantastic and doing a podcast. They're doing some book reviews, and their actual last podcast is actually about a book called My Grandmother's Hands, and it's about actual somatic therapy. I think that's the actual correct way of saying it. But like somatic abolitionism and generational trauma. That's like those are big things. Now, if you don't understand what that actually means, I think you should actually listen to the podcast. I'm going to really butcher it, but from my understanding is basically like how your body reacts to like being frustrated about being wrong about some things, and also coming into terms with generational trauma that you never noticed that you had. So, for example, like a generational trauma would be that like your family's been poor and been poor for so long, and when you finally get money, the first response for you to do is go spend money, and that's a version of trauma. That's a version of a trauma response that you never think about is the fact that as soon as I get my income tax, I'm going to buy this very vast car and stuff like that. And so there's some other things. It's more, I'm giving a very, 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 very softball explanation of it. I really want you guys to go listen to the podcast because it actually does a better job. And it's a very much so situation where you do fuck around and find out and understand like actually about some of these stories and books, and also stuff that happened in the news and culture over there in Washington State and the Pacific Northwest. So big shout outs to Tammy Garrett for that podcast, Fuck Around and Find Out as well. And make sure you check that out as well on HVFE podcast as well on YouTube. And eventually we should be switching over to A&M as well for all three podcasts being on those platforms. So JT,
wow, that leads us into our movie review for the
week. Yeah. Let's go talk about this. Let's talk about our Velvet Freight Train for the month, Spike Lee's movie. What is it called, Jamel?
This week, we are doing another joint from 40 Acres and a Mule Filmworks. This is also a Touchstone production. So this is technically a Disney movie as well. It is He Got Game from 1998, a sports drama flick. It stars the one and only Denzel Washington, one of the GOATs. We also have Ray Allen playing Jesus Shuttlesworth. We have a few characters and a few actors who have frequented Spike Lee joints. We've got John Turturro. We've got Bill Nunn. We've got Hill Harper. We also have a lot of sports figures, IRL sports figures in this movie as well. People such as Shaquille O'Neal, people such as Scottie Pippen, sidekick. We got Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Coach Jim Boeheim of Syracuse Orange. This film, it is a dramatic tale. It is, at its core, a father and son story. And we're going to kick this off with a little, that's kind of how, can you let me set up the questions, Hefe? So let's kick things off. I believe this is now our second or third Denzel joint in this one. It's 1998.
Yes.
It's right after Malcolm X, where Denzel solidified himself as one of those him type actors, but it's right before Training Day, and so Denzel hadn't been parodied. He hadn't quite gotten to that point where it's like, okay, this is just who Denzel is and everything else. What do y'all think of Denzel's performance in this movie? He is by far the top tier actor in this one. JT, we're gonna kick it off with you. What do you think of Denzel in this one as Jake Shuttlesworth?
You said it yourself, man. His acting is the best, and so he puts everybody else next to him to shame. And this was very much so to the detriment of Ray Allen, who was a piss poor actor in comparison. The only thing that was passable, like, was his hoop skills. So you kind of, oh that's right, yeah, I guess he is a good character, okay, but like when he was like berating his little sister for talking about how she didn't need to go to school, that was so bad. Yeah. And one of the things that I noticed about this movie was like everybody seemed to like pick a tone and just stay in the tone. Yeah. And they didn't ever move from the tone. And this was the tone all the time. You know what I'm saying?
It's the most noticeable with Ray Allen.
Yeah, right. Ray is happy. Ray is sad. Like Ray is upset. And those were the three modes.
Bro,
there was not much. Ray is playing basketball. He shuts up and acts all of a sudden.
It looked like Ray Allen was like, how my mom would do this scene. Dog, when he was talking to his sister, well, didn't I tell you not to do this? Mm-hmm.
What you doing with this stranger in our house? Like, that was...
He was really trying to be bitter to his dad. It was so
hilarious.
Bad.
It is hilarious.
I wanted Denzel to like double down on that scene and be like, I'm your damn daddy. Show me your birth certificate, homie.
Right.
You know me. You know me. You mad at me for a reason. Why you so mad at me? For me to
Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Let's hash this out right now and get thrown out the room. Get thrown out the house. I came out. I'm here. Let's talk about it. Yeah. You ain't gonna get this chance again for a long time.
Yeah, that was so
okay.
Funny.
So we're all in sort of agreement about the acting that the acting attempt that Ray Allen tried.
Bro,
do y'all think that this?
I was confused by
let's get into.
I was confused.
Where is Ray Allen? Hold on, where is he from? Because he's from. I don't know where he's from. Like, he doesn't sound like a dude from New York. Because, like, he's a basketball player. Of course, he wasn't gonna try and like do a New York accent. But it is wild how ungood Ray Allen is. It is funny. It is a funny.
Hold on. There was worse actors than him
in the film. Yes, there was.
But they're actually professional actors.
That's a fair point. Like, I think with Ray Allen, he has the excuse of, I'm a basketball player, so of course I'm not going to be a good actor. What the fuck were y'all expecting? You know what? I want y'all to go. Let's start. Let's back and forth. The worst, the ones who were a little bit worse than Ray Allen. So we're gonna go with you. Let's go one at a time. History. Let's get to the first person. Who would you say is? Yeah, that they were just not good in this one. And they're a professional. So who would you say next up for a bad actor?
Fuck, I can't even say bad actor the most. Maybe Sweetness. No, fuck. No.
Thomas Jefferson Bird.
John Turturro.
As Coach Billy Sunday.
Here is the reason why, dog. It's not the fact that he was bad. The whole script, that whole scene that he was supposed to do, that was fucking garbage, dog. It was
pretty awkward.
It was pure
the prayer.
You can see that he tried, so I'm trying not to fucking laugh the whole scene, the whole fucking rest of the podcast.
But in this movie, let's talk about subtext for a little while, guys. The subtext was, it was like the scene after his dad just told him where he got the name Jesus from.
Yeah.
So the fact that they done put up over here and got all these, towel head folk, looking all amazed in slow motion and stuff with their glittery blue eyes, really said, you don't know me. And I thought that was a really good touch.
Yes.
Even though they was obviously laying it on as thick as all them white women weren't.
Yeah, dog, I'm crying, dog. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
You know what? Let's go to another actor who was not as good. JT, who would you say? Who's the next one up that we got?
No, I thought Ebony and Ivory, Spivvy and Crudup or whatever was criminally underused.
Yes,
Jim Brown and
Joseph Lyle Taylor.
Jim Brown and the white dude. Crudup.
I felt like Jim Brown was actually the one that was actually the most fluid and actually well-deserved actor in this motherfucker. Like, I was actually enjoying his shit the whole time. You ain't thinking about leaving, huh?
I like how much of an asshole he was to Jake because he gave no damns about it. He was like, "Oh, you ain't my man." What?
And the funny thing was, he was sitting in the front seat, like, "All right, brother." So he knows that he's a brother, and he don't give a damn about him, like he's street trash anyway.
Yeah,
that's savage.
White police showing off.
That's 12.
Yes. What's that line from Fuck the Police? Black police showing off for the white cop. That's kind of a good example of that. But Jim Brown was cool in this one. Rick Fox was he was in this movie as well. Rick Fox, and we might as well get into who could have been Jesus. There were a lot of black basketball players that that Spike Lee was going over. He looked specifically for ones who could pass for a high school senior, and the first choice was Kobe. But Kobe apparently was just like, nah, fuck that, because this is some Kobe Bryant shit. 97 playoffs against Utah. He had like a few air balls like that led to the loss of the Lakers in that series. And Kobe was like, nah, I'm gonna work on my game in the offseason, which is prototypical and of course some shit Kobe would do. Tracy McGrady, Spike Lee was just like, he was a little too reserved. Allen Iverson, he was just not impressed. And Allen Iverson really does fit the mold of what Jesus Shuttlesworth was. Like he has kind of that. Like Allen Iverson's mom, I remember seeing like 30 said that God blessed her when he was born. Like it was specifically like he is a gift from God, literally, because he was gonna take her out of her situation.
Yeah,
so
from front to back, Allen Iverson would have been that was Allen Iverson's documentary.
It was, but another one who could have been it, Kevin Garnett and Stephon Marbury. But they weren't. Their ages weren't.
Could have looked at that forehead for the whole movie.
Jesus Christ, Stephon.
Goddamn.
And of course, Rick Fox also auditioned, but he was too damn old to be Jesus. He wasn't believable.
They put him in college, and I was like, oh, so he's like a coach, right? No, he's a star player.
Super senior.
he's a super senior about to graduate. Duh. Wait, can we talk about the fact that wait. I'm so sorry for I'm so sorry for jumping ahead on this one, dog. Can we talk about the fact that, man, my man Rick Fox was walking around originally and he was like, yeah, man, so this is a good seed, this is where this is at, this is where this is at. And then two random white girls just walk up. He kissed one. I was like, oh, that's his girlfriend. And then the other one came over there a few seconds later and kissed him, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? And then they went to kiss Jesus, and my first thought was, don't be a menace. That's how saying drinking the juice. I thought there's 2 times in the movie, dog, when she kissed him and then went to Jesus. I was like, bruh, like Marlon Wayans, do you realize you kissed every nigga at the party just now?
Right.
That's what I felt like with Jesus, and I felt like with Denzel Washington character with Mila Jovovich. You knew she was on the street, and you were making out with both of them, both you, like father, like son, making out with these girls.
Here's where I'll defend Jake on this perspective. He was in jail, and jail niggas are like, hey, a bitch is a bitch. So apologies, no disrespect to Mila Jovovich. You were in the Resident Evil movies, but that's from his perspective. It's like, I mean, a woman is a woman, like even if she is for the streets. And so I can't. I'm not saying I'd have did it, but I fully understand why. Why
You
Jake?
understand.
Bro, we got to talk about
And I
that.
ain't saying he should have killed him,
But
but I understand.
But we was just talking about the Rick Fox situation. But I felt like Rick Fox was he sold his character though. I felt like he sold his character surprisingly compared to everybody else. I believed Rick Fox's character was Rick Fox's character. I didn't feel like that with a lot of other people inside of this film. So
it was.
Go ahead.
Go right ahead. No, go right ahead.
I was gonna say like I think the main fucking like actual perpetrator in here, one of the main ones is like Hill Harper. How did y'all feel about Hill Harper? Booger. How did you feel about Hill Harper's character?
He was.
I like Hill in some stuff. This is not one of the stuff that
he didn't matter much. I mean, he had a little happy ending. He learned to read, so you know, there's that.
My point is the fact that like
it's fundamental.
Yeah, I got that. Oh, like I was thinking that man, he's a star basketball player too with them. They was doing all the promos and shit like that for him. And then all of a sudden, come to find out, he was the one that's getting picked on. He can't fucking read the newspaper and shit. And they didn't have to do my man Hill Harper's character like that. At the very end, he can't fucking read. You could have did that throughout the whole movie. They only decided to open up that context. It's like writing a bad essay. You don't bring up a new topic in conclusion of the like a paper, right? Then they brought up a new topic at the conclusion of the film. And Hill Harper's character really did terrible in that one. But also on top of that, Mila Jovovich's character was also equally as terrible. How did
her part was unnecessary?
Yes.
Her subplot was just, again, I get like, hey, we need to give Jake some cheeks, but her whole thing was just very unnecessary, and I feel like the movie wouldn't have missed not having Mila Jovovich.
No, she was there for Denzel to play Captain Save-A-Ho. And you know, he's humanized in essentially that one scene alone, you know, because he was more human in that scene than he got to be in the rest of anything else.
Correct.
And so, you know, it
was a white woman.
I think that tenderness should have been reserved for his daughter, you know what I'm saying, who was just a baby when all this stuff happened, yada yada yada, whatever, was too young, whatever. But I think that would have been more family driven. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But see,
very much agree.
Those scenes that happen. Jesus didn't allow those scenes to happen, or Spike Lee didn't allow those scenes to happen, unfortunately. And so I wish I would have seen more scenes where he would have been like how he snuck to go see Rosario Dawson at the end of school for Jesus' School. I wish I wish that he would have did the same thing for his daughter as well. So I feel like the redemption arc should have been for two people.
Can we talk about how you punched my man in the throat?
Oh man,
that is one of the funniest things in the movie. You just right in the throat, got his ass down. I think the movie itself, because I know we've kind of been shitting on it, but I do think to an extent there is a lot of truth in the movie, because this is what a lot of these high school recruits go through. They're being pulled in all these different directions, and it's you have this, you know, unnaturally God-given talent where you can lift a lot of people out of poverty. You can cause people in your family to retire, and it's fucked up. But a lot of these dudes are just, they're a commodity. And so you got Uncle Bubba, played by Bill Nunn, talking about, okay, this is how you're gonna pay me back. You got his high school coach talking about all the stuff, you know, just wanting to make sure that he gonna get his beak wet. And my man, Big Time Willie, played by Robert Gouverneur Smith, light skinned who's in a certain amount of hood movies, and works with Spike Lee a lot. Willie kind of kicked the game to him in a truthful way, because it's like, people are going to always see you and have a handout. And I think the film does a decent job of getting that, where it's like, if you are this level of talented as a football player, basketball player, basically everyone in your life, unfortunately, a lot of these dudes are going to turn into employees, where it's like, your job is going to be playing in the NBA, NFL, baseball, whatever, and their job is being associated with you. And that's how a lot of these dudes end up going broke, and that's how a lot of these dudes end up losing, just going down a lot of bad paths because they're getting pulled in all these different directions by these people. And you see that in this movie. For me, it's not executed particularly well. But JT, looked like you were firing up a thought. Go right ahead, bro.
No, just listen to what you were saying.
So quick. Okay, cool. Quick question then. How do you feel the relationship was with all right, let me switch this one. How do you feel like the relationship was with Jesus and what's Denzel Washington character name? Jake's Shuttleworth's character at the very beginning? Because I felt like I got a hint of it, but I also didn't get a hint of like what their relationship was. So I'm talking about.
You mean like the first scene that they were together?
No, not the first scene that they get as
Mary, why do you have a stranger in our house?
Right.
Yeah.
He should he's not a stranger. Why do you have mom's killer in the house? That's what it is to him. But that wasn't written in there well.
Yeah.
Why is mom's killer here? That's why he's not welcome. He killed mom. He gotta go. And now it all makes sense. But he's sitting here, this stranger, not even looking at him. Now, if they would have done it like that, that would have been a whole different scene.
Yeah.
And I think that was the scene that was deserved in that movie, because what we got was some weak sauce.
Yeah.
And when Denzel stood up, like, you ain't just gonna talk to me like I'm not here, mother. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Because I felt like the movie was trying its best to kind of say that Jesus didn't believe that Jake would have killed his mom for a lot of parts. Because even when they showed the actual scene, it looked like Jesus also thought, and Jake thought, oh shit, this fucking thing happened because it escalated too much. So it didn't come off as my mom's killer. It just came off as this guy who was a bad man from start to finish throughout my life.
And that was very descriptive of somebody who grew up under him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel like it meshed well. I understood what they were trying to do, but it didn't feel like it meshed well.
I think we can all admit Ray Allen's character is a little octagonal for this movie. he got way too many edges where he needed to be well rounded.
Well, he was Kawhi Leonard before Kawhi Leonard was like ever in the league.
Kawhi Leonard, yeah.
Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. I'm sorry, my bad.
Kawhi.
Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Kawhi Leonard. Cool Whip.
No he.
Why you put
you
put the H in the cool, dog?
Kawhi. Is it Kawhi or is it Kawhi?
It's just Kawhi. Like there's no he.
Cry, it's like cry, but just with a just cry.
Ain't there like an island of Hawaii that's called Kauai?
But it's spelled with a K-U-A-I, right?
No, it's Kawhi because niggas spell
the island that he's talking about. That JT's talking about.
That was Kawai.
Probably
Hawaii, but it was Kauai.
We got this Google machine. We gonna use this bitch in a second. If you're in the chat, type that motherfucker.
Look, I've never been to Hawaii. I would like to go. Here it's nice.
Kauai. It's K-A-U-A. The backwards apostrophe and then I.
Gotcha. About to say, I thought it was K-A-U-I. I would say.
What's the backwards apostrophe called? Can you Google that too?
Shit, what the fuck? This is the podcast.
No, I'm not doing that. You got a computer in front of me.
He said, "Who do you think I am, butcher?"
We look up. We look up
to learn about this grammar.
What is the accent called over the A's and E's in Spanish?
Enya. Rosario Dawson as Lala Bonilla. First off, Rosario Dawson, God bless. What do y'all think? What did y'all think of Lala as the fact that he as basically the gold digger who's kind of playing Jesus? What did y'all think of Lala?
I don't think it was as apparent. I feel like she should have been a little bit more for the streets than she was shown. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it should have been one of them things that everybody else knows about Lala, but Jesus Shuttlesworth is over here getting lost in the pussy.
Bro,
I thought that's what it should have been.
Nose wide open.
Right. But like it should have been one of them things like everybody knows, dog. Everybody knows but you. And that's because she on the phone, just like what was his name? Big Time Willie.
Big Time Willie
talking. I love you. I love you. And when he was doing his little scene, and they had all these gratuitous nudity flashbacks, it was kind of weird, not a place. But when he was talking about I love you, I'm surprised they didn't flash Lala in the scene. And so it kind of weirded me out. I was like, well, whose thoughts are we in? Are you just putting this in for the audience? Because I thought we was in the thoughts that Big Time Willie was given to Jesus in sitting shotgun. I thought that was what was the exchange. But like the fact that he said I love you and none of the family members came up, you know what I'm saying? His little sister didn't pop up, Lala didn't pop up, none of it. It was just some random extras. So that was weird. And I thought that was that
whole thing was just random.
I felt like Spike Lee wanted to hide who was the antagonist in the film, though. And so that's not an excuse. I'm just saying that's what it came off as. He was trying to hide that.
My baby needs some Similac.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing, I like that whole the random stranger saying, "Hey, Jesus, can you look out for me?" Because one of them was Jamie Hector, who will go on to be Marlo Stanfield in The Wire. Like, I like that because honestly, it does, from what a lot of these, athletes who've either gone broke or athletes who come from backgrounds like Jesus, a lot of them do like basically say like, damn, that's kind of how it goes with a lot of people in their lives. And it's why some of these dudes end up fucking depressed. And so I like that perspective, but I fully get your point, JT. Like having like Lala, with the I love you, and then it maybe flash to Jesus where he's thinking like, oh shit. Like, and he kind of has that realization, like, oh, maybe this person who I've committed so much to and got my nose just wide open, maybe she's not being sincere. So I
could have been
fully
the
get
start of him being suspicious of her, and then he eventually called her out because she was like, I need you to meet this guy too. And this dude had all the money, so we know she was getting paid to bring him there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But and obviously she was over. How you gonna bring your other baby daddy or whoever? How many abortions she had with him too? You know what I'm saying? That was where she spent her evenings with.
Yeah,
but she over here got her claws into him like the leathery claws of Mephistopheles.
It'd have been fucked up if they would have did it at the end. Come to find out that baby wasn't even his. It was actually
right.
The other
she
dude
was just pregnant by somebody.
Yeah,
and she was over here trying to play. Dog, I had a girl try to do my cousin like that. Real talk, these hoes ain't loyal.
Yeah,
that's why I'm happy I got me a good woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, fuck.
Big State. Big State the funniest
Big State
college
was Wyoming,
name?
Right? Because that's what that looked like, a big old square.
It is one. That is the funniest fake college. That is the most uncreative. Like Spike, come on. You could have came up with something.
Why didn't you just say something, bro? Just say something.
Big State.
Right.
The college visit itself was what it was. I'm also put out another. This is some episode where details about me are coming out. I just now realized once I got grown that August had no holidays in it. This movie is the first time that I ever saw Chick-fil-A. Like, where I'm from in Detroit, there's no Chick-fil-A's around. This is the first. I'm like, what do they eat? When I was a kid or younger, when I first saw it, I'm like, what are they eating? And then it was like, oh, that's Chick-fil-A. And so that's the first time that I've ever seen Chick-fil-A.
But
was that Big State? I don't know where the fuck Big State. If my kid told me that he's going to Big State, I'm like, nah, you going to the Army. Like, the fuck? What's wrong with you? That school seems like you're going to get HPV or something. All these women just running up and kissing other dudes. That scene is way more gross. They're going to
bring back
the more I think about it.
For mono, for real. Because it wasn't just them.
And that's how COVID started.
Females. It was also the other 4 or 5 that was like at a lunch table somewhere else. And that's not counting the other 2 that was in the bedroom waiting for him somewhere else. Which, that seemed like a lot.
Nigga, you kissed every dude at this party, and you have penis on your breast, sir. Jesus, you got a penis on you, bro. Go back to Cone Island.
Not only like, and this is the last part I'm going to say about this too. But she was riding his face, and they had that other one. I was like, no, this is so much. I didn't know how to comprehend all that. I felt gross, but also I was like, this is just so much happening. I don't understand all of these things going on at this point in time.
That's their job at school. They are on the we are gonna fuck the recruit squad. Yeah. And boy, they're professionals. They are captains of that team. Ugh.
Oh god! Anyway. And so it felt like those scenes made me really think like, man, Spike Lee was fucking like horny as fuck when he wrote this fucking movie. Like I'm sure I got 10 minutes of porn on this fucking film. Like I'm pretty sure I got 10 minutes of fucking like some dudes could have finished watching this fucking movie. Like that's how
that scene of them on the cyclone of Jesus and Lala on the cyclone. Also, they were like, wow, like this is
and she was
Spike was horny doing this.
Rosario Dawson was a virgin during that scene, which is wild.
IRL or in the movie?
IRL, in real life.
Wait, in 1998?
Yeah, she didn't lose her virginity until she was 20 years old. She was 18 when she filmed that. Yeah.
God damn, we're old. Like, that is something to think about. That is something to think about. Like, huh? Like, wow, she had to be a hoe in the movie before she actually lost her virginity. Oh, that's sad. Like, she got experience. Wow.
So,
God bless her though. She's 44 and looks amazing. God bless her.
Answer a question for me, man. Like, how did this film didn't do a really good job by like showing that like Jesus was oblivious to this girl being with who she said was her brother. And also, am I the only nigga that just looked at this dude and realized I can't trust this dude in real life at all to save my life ever?
Who, the bald man? Bald bro.
Yeah, the actual better looking Bokeem.
Damn.
Better looking
another clone, another of Dave Chappelle's clones. Because let's be honest, Bokeem Woodbine is the negative version of Dave Chappelle, and so this guy's a variant of him.
He's not even in the main credits.
Damn, that's what's
he really isn't. Like, I'm trying to. What's the
I've been trying to find
Leonard Roberts. Leonard Roberts is his name. He played he was the antagonist dude in Drumline.
Yeah, I thought I was up.
He was a college student. This nigga is 50 and he was playing a college age. Goddamn. Hollywood is
How old is Rick Fox? Because that shit, I for real saw Rick Fox and I was like, oh, okay, so he's
53. He's 53 now, and he was 2023.
Oh my god!
So he was just a couple years older, huh? He really looked.
He's 25.
You gotta think about it. Rick Fox, I think Ray Allen kind of falls in the same age group as him, though.
Yeah, probably.
I want to say Ray
Allen he's 47, so he's
he's close. I'm about to say I thought shit, and also Ray Allen is a July birthday.
He's 3 years old. So Ray Allen was 21 at the time of this movie because he's 3 years older than Rosario Dawson.
All right, so question: best scene in the movie?
Why would you ask me that question?
You heard me.
You know what? I'm because of the fact that like I've seen the movie before. I'm gonna give you my answers for two different scenes. My favorite scene, because I've been I did this podcast with y'all for a while, is when Ray Allen yanked on fucking Jake. I was like, bruh.
During the game, during that one-on-one game.
Bitch. That's 11. That's 11-5 game, and he walked away. Why
Jake should have played him for his heart. He literally was playing him for his heart.
Double or nothing, son. What do you mean double? I go to 2 colleges.
For me, that's a top tier scene. For comedy purposes, it's the scene of Denzel Washington punching old boy in the throat. Like that to me is just it's just a fun. It takes me out like, dog, that is hilarious. Like that is some stuff that an old dude would think. Like, I'm gonna hit him in his throat. Like an old man.
I'm just gonna run away. It'll be fine.
I'm
gonna give me a hooker.
Dog, it's hilarious. For dramatic purposes, I do think the line that I do like a lot is him telling him at the end of the game after they played each other. He played him for his heart and he lost like Sanaa Lathan. When he told him to let me, like, when he told him to get that hatred out of his heart or he'll end up just another nigga like his daddy, I do think that was a good line because Denzel was the only one who did show up to be like, hey, I want to act today.
Hey,
and
I'm an actor. I act. Yeah.
I do the acting.
Yeah, that was my favorite scene at first. Yeah, when I was younger, because I felt like I had a decent relationship with my dad. But when this movie came out, by the time I've seen this, my dad had already passed, and I felt like that was a message I needed to hear at a point in time. So that was my first. But because of the fact that we've talked about loving basketball, my man Ray Allen with the double hand dunk on that man, that shit hits hard. That hits hard.
What about you, JT? Oh wow, this is I got a fact after this, but go ahead, JT. What's your favorite scene?
I definitely like watching the brother get hit in the throat. That made me cackle. Yeah, out loud. Bruh. That was good.
Oh, that explains why we got the movie that we got. How long do you think it took to film this goddamn movie?
6 weeks.
Nope. That was beautiful of you.
What? It took place between July and September. The film took place.
It took 23 days to film this movie.
Oh, you should have took 40. It would have been good.
Wow.
He was
between July and September of 2020.
Yeah.
Did I say 2020? What the fuck?
Yeah, Tyler Perry was trying to break a record at the time.
This is also the last film that it debuted at #1 at the box office. You're right, it was considered a financial flop. It was made on a budget, $25 million, and the lifetime gross at the box office was a little over $21 million. So yeah, it did not break even. This is the last movie that Denzel and Spike Lee did with each other, and I'm guessing Denzel probably thought like, okay, I'm not gonna be the only person carrying the damn movie again with you, Spike. So I'm a gracefully bow out, bro. You gave me Malcolm X. Let's move on and let's shake hands. Roger Ebert gave this movie 3.5 stars. It was his best film since Malcolm X. He praised Ray Allen's performance. He said Ray Allen is a rarity, an athlete who can act. And nah, bro. Roger, you were wrong. You were dead ass wrong.
Yeah. Let's
address the biggest thing that's wrong with this movie. Jesus was going straight to the pros. If this was real life, he's going straight to the pros. Let's keep it real. A poor dude in his situation is not going to college. Not even in these days, he could have did the one and done, but nah, he was going straight to the pros. Like this is post Kobe. This is post Kevin Garnett. Dudes going from high school to the pros was on and popping it.
And pre-LeBron.
And he was going. If I'm that broke, I'm not going to college. Like no way in hell. And Bill Simmons wrote in his review, pointed that out. No way in hell a dude that broke and that good is just gonna go to college. Like, nah, get your degree later and go make that money now. So that's probably the least realistic part of this movie that is based in reality. I believe more that Jake threw his basket at the end of the movie, threw the basketball over the fence, and it somehow magically landed at Big State, and Ray Allen picked it up. More than I believe a super talented high school basketball player is just going. Nah, I'm gonna go to Big State. What the Big State? I'm still on that fucking name.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna ask a quick question to you, JT. I was trying to think about this too. Is this how do you feel like the dad and son relationship was between these two guys? Because I know we asked a question about the kids, but I'm having a hard time because I know I feel like we kind of just joke about it. We go over this, but when pre-kid, how we answer that question. After the game, how is the dad and son relationship? Because I don't feel like we still got that resolution at the very end of that film. So how do you feel like that ended?
Denzel gave the resolution. Denzel's monologue at the end and him supporting him through basketball was the resolution.
Okay. Gotcha. What about you, Jamal?
I think, like, obviously it could have been better, but I do think the father, like, why I like that scene, the last advice that Denzel gives him is because it is fatherly advice. It is a father who, Jake in prison had time to think. And he knew, like, he was kind of dead wrong with some of the things that he did. And he was giving him advice. It's like, if you don't change, you're going to end up like me. And neither of us want that. And I think that was a good way to cap off their interactions. I think obviously it could have been better. I think if Jesus and him spent a little more time together, I think if we got more of him and Mary, because Mary was underserved in this movie. Zelda Harris, aka what's her name from Crooklyn? She was Troy from Crooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
She was underserved in this movie, and I don't get a sense of their relationship. And I think that was an aspect that was really underserved. I think it would have been helpful. I think it would have been some good scenes if we got Jake interacting with Uncle Bubba and Aunt Sally. I think that would have been added a little more to the story because I think Sally is the mom, is his
They didn't do a good
mom's
job of
sister.
explaining it. Yeah, they didn't do a good
Yeah,
job of
no,
explaining
they did. They explained it was the mom's sister.
It was?
Okay, yeah. I knew they said that, but I couldn't remember for a second.
The
But
relationship.
I think that could have been.
The relationship like never met anybody else. So it was just Denzel and Boogie and Jesus. It was none of the other family. I mean, and even when he visited the daughter, she was out of the second half of the whole film. And she was just mentioned by name. But that would have been the first thing. Look, son, if you go to big state, they're gonna let me out early. I can take care of my daughter, be the father I always needed to be. You know what I'm saying? I could be there for you. I know you mad at me for what happened to your mother. That was an accident. I was there too. I was drinking. I've been off the bottle. Da 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 da. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He had a spiel, and he came up to him and told him, "Look, if you do this," and then of course they screw him in the end.
Yeah. Which, by the way, can we also admit that Denzel movies, especially during this time, I feel like all the way to Fences has been pretty much movies where he has played the drunk alcoholic guy who can actually be really, really good person and have good intentions.
Remember the Titans. He wasn't a drunk in that one. It was he wasn't drunk an alcoholic in that one. But damn, you're kind of right. Going back, just popping up Denzel's filmography, just looking at what he was doing around this time. Malcolm X, kind of doesn't count. The Pelican Brief, I've never seen that
because he was part of the moonshine thing, and he was doing some hoodlum shit. So
the
at the beginning,
Bone Collector, I'm not sure he was a drunk in that one. I think he was bedridden. He was a
cripple in that one.
He was a cripple in Bone Collector.
It was
Hurricane, where he was Reuben Carter.
Yes and no, but he was
Training Day. He was on. Boy, Training Day. He was on everything. He was wild. John Q. I don't think he was. I don't think he was in Antoine Fisher. Man on Fire as Creasy. Yeah, that was the whole angle. He was a drunk, and of course, one of my favorite Denzel movies, Flight, where
definitely
the whole premise is drunk and on cocaine, high as shit, flew a plane upside down.
Flew a fucking plane and saved people's life.
He was cold as hell in that one. I went over some of the potential basketball players who could have been Jesus Shuttlesworth. JT, do you think any of them being in this role that isn't Ray Allen, do you think it could have worked with Kobe? Do you think it could have worked? I think Allen Iverson.
Listen, Jamil, I'm just going to stop you now. I would have been willing to try everybody besides Ray Allen after watching this film.
Damn.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, he dragged the movie.
Kobe had it.
I think Kobe would have done better.
That is something to think.
Better.
Because he acted in he was on an episode of Moesha like around this time or before this, so it would have worked because he had at least some acting experience, a little bit of acting experience. And Allen Iverson, again, he perfect because this is basically his life. So yeah, it's disappointing. Like I wish this movie. This is one of those things where it's like it could work. I think a remake or like an updated version of this could work because we've had almost 30 years since this movie came out. We've gotten more info on like the recruiting process and how these kids are made from kid who's kind of good at something to get into that superstar level of the NBA. And so I think it could work, but I also think maybe we've seen a little too much. And because this, if you listen to some of the stories, it's kind of tame in some ways because it's like, oh, you just had one girl trying to trap you with getting pregnant. Let me introduce you to me. Or you can look at what Zion Williamson is going through nowadays. Oh boy. So history. One last question. Go right ahead.
Oh no, man, that situation was fucking wild with him getting a girl pregnant and then apparently like was hollering at another like porn star shit like that. That was wild. I think that this movie frustrated me the most, man, because this movie was so hell bent on this father-son relationship, and I feel like I never got a true resolution out of the father-son relationship. Like, yes, he picked Big State, but that was one of his final two in the first place anyway. He decided to take his sister with him, but that was the original goal anyway. So it felt like all of those decisions was naturally going to be with him anyway. I think the one part that just was never acknowledged was the fact that, like, if it wasn't for your fucking dad, I know that people were talking about how hard he was pushing him, but if it wasn't for your dad pushing you, you wouldn't be able to afford this particular option at this point in time. Like, we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room is the fact that, yes, you think that he's an asshole, but at the same token, the night that your mom got killed, what was he doing? And why was he upset at you? Because you wouldn't try hard at a game that you wind up actually fucking playing professionally. It makes no sense. That felt like no resolution to it. And for the ball to go over the fence for not only Jesus, but then also on top of that for Jake's Shuttleworth's character, it puts the mom's death almost in vain. The storyline itself, because it was supposed to be Jesus's way of saying I quit, right? But then you have Jake, I quit. Jesus is being an actual fucking basketball player at Big State, probably gonna go into the NBA. And unfortunately, Jake is probably gonna still play basketball just for a little bit of time while he's in prison. And I just felt like there was no resolution. There was no finishing. So I guess that's why I'm asking you guys this question multiple times. Maybe beginning, maybe end. Maybe y'all can explain this part for me. Because I felt like the elephant, the father saw
Jake was trying to go to heaven because he was trying to get shot. And when he figured out dude wasn't going to pull the trigger on him because he actually cared about his human life, he threw the ball over the wall so that the rest of the inmates would whoop his ass and probably kill him for getting rid of the only basketball.
I love that analogy. That's a better story. That's a better story. Why you did it, Jake? Because I want Cell Block E to come and just feed my ass.
Because the governor is a damn lie.
Yeah.
I want my cornbread.
I want my cornbread. I want some of that whites only pie. I want like something, dog. Give me something, dog. And
how much would it take to make one of them whites only pies? Nigga pie.
Yeah. You gotta get something.
Life is gonna have to be a movie that we do one day. But wrapping things up.
Yes.
JT, if there was one big change that you can make in this movie that you
Ray Allen
actually improve it, aside Ray Allen, like we've picked on poor two-time NBA champion, rich man Ray Allen. We've picked on him enough. He's had a hard enough.
Only two times. I thought he
had Ray Allen. Nah, he's got two. He's been to the finals multiple times, but he only has two championships. One with the Heat, 2013, one with the Celtics in 2008.
Oh,
and he's got a gold medal. Good for him. Good for Ray Allen. He deserves it.
But yeah, he obviously was the weakest link in there, besides apart from I don't know the timeline, for crying out loud. Listen, it's hard to put anybody in the same scene with Denzel and have him not outact the fuck out of them. So, you know, Ray Allen had to go fuck because that was easier than acting in the film. So, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like the gratuitous nudity was weird and misplaced. And it really felt like Spike Lee was a breast man. And I need some more thighs in my black films. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Rick Fox was cold how he was describing black women too at Big State. Like, God damn, Rick.
I turned to my wife and I was he was like, yeah,
like,
he got rid of the black women because they had too much self-respect.
That's what he said. Well, that's basically what he said.
Yeah,
that's basically what he said. He said they make you work too hard for it.
Yeah, these floozies is easy.
Yeah, I need hoes. You trying to speed run getting some type of STD or getting one of these.
But that's what Big Time was trying to tell him. How do you spell it? PUHIV. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, Big Time, he low key was. He was trying to.
That was the highlight. I think that was a good monologue. He was a cool person because he was like, "Dog, these cats don't care about you. They don't care that you go into the league. You nothing to them around here except that chain." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He gave him the lowdown.
Yeah.
Hey, watch out for them drugs and shit too. Like he tried.
I really history. What about Denzel? So to make my change, I would have said Denzel should have had more family-related dialogue that he could have spit. Yeah. And so, you know, they needed to have the conversation about your mother. You know what I'm saying? They needed to have the conversation about your sister and just be like, you know, I'm up in here. I could be working for you. You my children. You were my charge. You know what I'm saying? I'm not done with that. And they got me over here locked up and I can't even support you on your journey. You know what I'm saying? Like that was his dream. That's all he ever wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And so the fact that he threw that away, he knows that. And we get a couple of things, you know, God, I hope God forgive me. Maybe one day you can too. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think I would have given him a little bit more powerful father monologue. You know, I matter in your life and you know, I'm really trying to do good for you. And I know there's leeches around and I'll keep them away. By the way, watch your uncle. He one of them niggas. And then the next scene, he roll up in that Lexus. This is it's in my name, but it's for you.
Yeah.
Uncle Bubba. R.I.P. Bill Nunn. R.I.P. What about you? What would be your big change in the movie? Aside,
I'm trying to double check something real fast before I make my statement.
So stall, Jamel, what's your big change?
I would have had Denzel punch a couple more people in the throat. Just to, I would have had him and Uncle Bubba. Dog. Sweetness, I would have had him do the move to Bubba. Because like that to me, and I do agree with you, the family stuff is where it could have been strengthened. And I think having him interact with Sally, having him interact with Bubba, I think that would have made the movie better. And especially having more stuff with Mary, I think it would have given a fuller picture. Basketball is the focus of the movie, but I do think that like the family stuff, that would have been highlighted more. And again, we didn't need Mila Jovovich in this movie. I know, like you hit the nail on the head. He had to say the white woman at some point in this movie because, goddamn it, we got to say the white woman at some point. Can't leave well enough alone. But I think you cut her out and you could have added some more stuff for the family. History. What about you?
I actually have my best and possible answer that I can fucking answer to this is I would have waited. I would have never did this movie, waited 2 more years for Love and Basketball to come out and gave a lot of the storyline to the director for Love and Basketball, especially the one for Q and his relationship with his dad. This would have been a better film if this was included into Love and Basketball. Because Love and Basketball follows a lot of Sanaa Lathan's character. You could have did first quarter, Sanaa Lathan's character, second quarter would have been about Q or whoever Ray Allen's character and his relationship with his dad. Instead of having his dad be a Clipper, a former Clipper, pushing his son really well, and then all of a sudden accidentally kill his mom. But still have this understanding that he's going to be top state or something like that. I felt like this would have been a better movie if this would have been included in Love and Basketball. This would have gave.
So how about we make another movie that is just biting off of these two movies,
and then just
pass
make it
it off as our own movie.
Yeah,
and we'll finally have a consummate basketball film.
Yes,
because it's really difficult to get.
Because
the thing I did like about this film, though, is that they did basketball well. All the editing was very good. It made it feel like it was all one game when they was playing. You know what I'm saying? So it felt like a better basketball film than some other stuff. They didn't have too many basketball games, but like I think that it was easier to watch this basketball than it was to watch Love and Basketball's basketball.
Yeah, I think only reason why I kind of have a problem with that is because of the fact that I felt like I didn't get basketball for Ray Allen until the very fucking end, and for how much they pushed basketball for him. I know this took place in about a week, but I didn't get a concept of how good he was in basketball until the very end. I knew how good young Ray Allen was, but I didn't get how good adult Ray Allen was at that point in time. That makes sense, what I'm saying?
And IRL, like, so I think you can. I understand where you're coming from. So at this point in his career, Ray Allen, he got drafted in '96. That is a legendary class. 03, he's still on the Bucks. So he didn't make his first All-Star team until the year 2000. He didn't make his first All-NBA team until 01. He's All-NBA third team. So fair point. Like Ray Allen took a couple years to blossom into the player that he would become, but you know that's a fair point.
That's because he took 3 weeks off to do a movie.
If you followed college basketball, you would know how good Ray Allen was because Ray Allen was really good with UConn. But yeah, wait, this nigga was raised in South Carolina. Oh, he was raised in South Carolina. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Let's talk about the most iconic part about the scene, which was the dad and the son basketball scene. Jamel, do you have that random trivia for that scene itself?
I do not. You go right ahead and provide it.
So Spike Lee, when they initially shot the scene, apparently Denzel Washington did not have a left hand, and he practiced. But also on top of that, Spike Lee was pretty much the only person that knew that Denzel Washington played basketball in college as well. Ray Allen knew that he played basketball in college, but he had a bad left hand. And so he kept telling, Denzel Washington kept telling Ray Allen that he had a bad left hand. And so in between scenes and when he went home, he would practice dribbling for the past 2 weeks or something like that with his left hand. So in the very beginning scene, you see him go to the left side and actually play. Originally, it was written out that he was supposed to win 15-0, but that's why we got the 11-5. Spike Lee, this is what I do remember Spike Lee saying. Spike Lee intentionally let that scene run because of the fact that was the most authentic acting that you got out of Ray Allen, because Ray Allen was completely surprised at the fact that this guy, Denzel Washington, is smoking him. So apparently the acting coach for Ray Allen was yelling on the side saying, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be beating him." And Denzel Washington wasn't telling him that he knew how to play basketball a little bit. And he got lucky. They scored about 5 shots on him. So Ray Allen really took the scene seriously and got frustrated for sure when you see Denzel Washington run around the court.
I'm gonna take another lap.
He got so bad, and then if you look at
that's the last one you gonna get, and it was.
And
he was sincere with that. He took his knee brace off, and he was ready to dunk on him.
Yeah,
he was dunk on him like he was cute.
But think about it,
you know what's funny? This took place in 1998. Somewhere in California, Q and Monica were playing for each other's hearts. Somewhere in California around the same time that Jake and Jesus were out there trying to get them to go to big state.
That's why I said, bro, I would have just waited 2 more years and then just filmed this movie and then added these characters, parts of these characters into this new movie. And Gina would have had a very good basketball romance movie. in a weird and silly way. You would have had an understanding why Q was so jaded throughout the whole film. You would have had an understanding.
He got his ass beat by Jesus.
He got his
Jesus
ass.
Shuttlesworth beat him in the game. Beat him in the
Yeah.
AAU game.
Yeah.
All right, so cool. PJ, so just real quick, fun fact. You brought it up. Denzel Washington played college basketball. He was a guard at Fordham University under coach PJ Carlissimo. PJ Carlissimo is one of them. He is one of them NBA lifer, basketball lifer type people. Been a coach at a few different stops. He's been an assistant. He was fortunate enough to be a part of the Spurs and won 3 championships as an assistant. He's been fired quite a few times. But fun fact, that was Denzel Washington's college coach, Mr. PJ Carlissimo. So that's a funny thing hearing about that Denzel legitimately angered Ray Allen, and knowing how prideful athletes are. It's like, okay, yeah, you're not getting anything else. So that was a fun fact to learn.
So they really was playing basketball during that time in that scene.
And Ray Allen took that personal. So let's get to the end of our review. We have dissected this movie. We've talked about what could have been improved. We've talked about some of the stuff that did work in this movie. Now it's time to give the ratings. JT, what say you? What is your rating for 1998's We Got Game?
This movie is a slumper. Okay, but based purely on the acting of Denzel, which is, as always, top tier. Damn it, this movie gets a low edge.
Damn.
History, what about you?
All right, for those who don't know our actual rating system,
everybody knows our rating system.
No, not everybody. What if
I'll go over it really quickly. Since Jason wants to get snippy right now. Our highest rating is Win. Edger comes after that. That is about 4 out of 5. We got Slumpers, which is a 3 out of 5. We have Sleepers, which are 2 out of 5. And 1 out of 5 is a dumpster. Are you happy?
Yes, I appreciate that, man. And everybody, don't assume everybody knows everything, man. Come on now. That's not how the message works. With that, I appreciate you giving your answer at the same time, though, because I disagree. I think that this movie is only reason why it's a slumper because it wakes you up out of your sleep every now and then with the random flashes of apparently fucking titties that Spike Lee found attractive enough to throw him in the fucking scene.
Like he had 23 days. I think he just settled for whatever titties he could get.
Bruh, it just felt like that much, man. But I really feel like as far as Denzel Washington does make this a sleeper. But I don't feel like this is his grand prize acting. I do think that this is good.
Sleeper?
He makes this as a sleeper, man, because I thought this was a dumpster ass movie. He makes this as a sleeper for me. I felt like this movie is not Denzel Washington's fault that this movie is a sleeper. I felt like the writing itself,
you know what it was? Oh, okay. Well, we watched this movie on Tubi, right?
Yeah.
So I like to just take a break and reflect on how the things was. And so I'm sitting here looking back at the film, and I really like the intro movie with the yee ass music. And my wife was like, "What are you talking about, yee?" I was like, "It's yeehaw, yeehaw. You know, that's what it is, just yee." Mm-hmm. But they had that music of them, you know, or whatever. I don't know how the mess goes, but
they had that like the inspirational music,
there, which is what you normally attribute to cowboys shooting. You know what I'm saying? Al Papa shooting, but now what you really had was them boys shooting out there on the courts. So that was not lost on me at all. He's saying this is our frontier, this is our prairie, and this is how we go out there and we conquer. So, you know, I guess I was a little caught up in subtext for this film. And that's why I thought that there was a lot more, you know, subtext going on in there. If I would just turn the movie off and like not thought about it, if I would have just binged the whole thing without these nice little breaks, I probably wouldn't have been so reflective on it. I probably would have missed a lot more of that stuff. I probably would have rated it lower.
I too watched it on Tubi, but I felt like being able to see the 4 different variations of the same eyeglass commercial helped me out, be able to actually stop from like laughing and being like, what the fuck so loud. My wife walked out the room, dog, a couple of times like, bro, why are you yelling? Because I was so fucking annoyed at this film. I was like, bro, what the fuck am I watching?
Just watching Ray Allen acting, that's all.
Yeah, and I kept just saying, what the fuck am I watching? And I was saying it so loud. I didn't realize how loud I was. This movie annoyed the fuck out of me. But I will say that, like, the scenes, like, obviously, I know this sucks, but the scene where Denzel Washington beat up you, folded your boy, the scene where Denzel Washington was like, told him that the ball is in your court and shit like that, you know, like there was some moments that I was like, okay, Denzel, you waking me up, you bringing me back to life a little bit. But this was a dog shit movie to me, man. And so I would not really go back to this movie. I would say that, like, take a break and would have filmed this movie in a little bit longer than 23 days. Spike Lee on this one.
So yeah, for me, this is one of those performances where it's like, Denzel, like, it's not necessarily he didn't bring his A game. He didn't. This is a B game. This is not even a C game for Denzel. This is, all right, let me just do this. But this is an audition for him. He's very good. Like, he's very good at his job. Like, this is in between stuff that he's like legitimately great at. Like, this came out in 1998. So 99, we got The Bone Collector and we got Hurricane, which he should have won an Oscar for. Then Denzel starts cooking. He goes to Remember the Titans. He goes to Training Day, John Q, Antoine Fisher, Man on Fire. Like, he starts cooking after this. So it really was like he was recharging his batteries. Like, all right, let me do this little thing with Spike. So he carries the movie, and he is why, in my opinion, this movie is a slumper. I think you have any other actor in there as Jake Shuttlesworth, the movie immediately goes down because it's not as it ain't Denzel. Ray Allen is atrocious as an actor, and there's a reason why he doesn't do much of it. Everyone else, all the other professional actors, that's who I'm most disappointed in. It's like, damn, y'all are pros at this. Yeah. Denzel and Jim Brown are really the only two people who showed up in my man Robert Smith. They're the only three, big time buddy. They're the only three who kind of showed up and wanted to give you something. This one was just, it just was not good. Like, this movie, it was just not, it's not one of Spike's best. It's not one that you would go back and be like, yo, this is a good Denzel performance. It's just a movie that happened in 1998.
That's a great way to say it. It's a movie that happened in 1998. That's a better way of saying it.
If you have to watch anything from this movie, find the scene of Denzel punching old boy in the throat, because that will tickle you. That will tickle you.
Will put a smile on your face.
Definitely put a fucking smile on your face.
That is going to do it for our movie review section for the week. We are continuing our way through 40 Acres in a Mule Productions, the Spike Lee production house. JT is going to have something for us next week.
The Sweet Blood of Jesus.
Okay,
The Sweet Blood of Jesus.
Blood of Jesus.
You can watch that with us on Tubi.
And we have, of course, a couple more weeks. We've got 2 more weeks of 40 Acres in a Mule, and I believe History is selecting the final movie of the month. We'll let y'all know what that is next week.
Oh no, man! It got to be either JT, because I got 2 movies, you got 2 movies, and then JT.
All right, you picked, and I got 2 movies in July. You know what? I'll pick another. I'll pick another.
That'll be 3 movies in a row.
I'll pick another one. I'll pick another. I picked this one. I'll go through and I'll look at the Spike Lee joints and be like, hey, this is one we can do. But in the meantime, that's going to do it for us. That's going to do it for this section and history. Go ahead and take us on.
Man, you can find us on YouTube under HVFE Podcast, or you can actually look it up, Historical Voices from the East Side Podcast, on Spotify or wherever you get your audio acoustical pleasures from. Hey, Wakia, what's happening? With that, you can check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcast at. Make sure that you hit a like or follow on there, as well as also do a rating for us as well, just to kind of it would definitely help us in the long run, be able to actually help us become more discoverable. So make sure you actually hit that rating, and also take advantage of the polls and also the comments that you can leave on there. Make sure that you leave your ratings for these films. So and then on YouTube, do the same thing. Like and subscribe on those channels, and also share with your friends. And with that, make sure you check out the actual Island of Irrelevancy podcast, as well as also the podcast Fuck Around and Find Out. Again, you can check us out on Thursday nights at 10:15 p.m. Eastern every day for this podcast. And then also on top of that, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram under History W. What about you, Jamel? What can people find you, man?
You can find me here for Historical Voices from the East Side. You can find me here also once a month for Island of Irrelevancy podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to us over on YouTube at HVFE podcast. Just go ahead and enter that in. You're going to start seeing a little bit more shorts migrate over from my personal channel, Eastside Reviews. You're going to see those on the main Historical Voices channel. I've got a couple up right now. I've got one where I put it to the people, ask y'all the age-old black question: Brandy or Monica?
Bruh.
Who do you prefer? Who do you got? Also, some of my favorite Spider-Man villains, and I also give you one where it's a dumb question, but I found it fun. Would you take $10,000 straight up for free, or would you get $5 million, but you got to fight a grizzly bear for 30 minutes? I put my thoughts on there as well. So you're going to start seeing some of that stuff migrate over to the main Historical Voices channel, and yeah, that is just about it. Follow me on all the socials.
Hey, fair enough. Yeah, all right. Well, JT, where people can find you as well, buddy?
You can find me here on Thursdays. Remember, we're switching to YouTube next month. So you're going to have to go on over there, and you need to subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell too. Yep. And please come join us over there on YouTube, where hopefully we will have a better platform of which to bring you delightful thoughts from the Council of Blurredom.
Hell yeah, man. All right, man. With that, we've had a chaotic week. We have 83-year-old men having babies, and unfortunately, football legends losing their kids at the same time in the same day. But we have to find some ways to be able to actually kind of bring ourselves back together after all the stressful, possible, even stressful or exciting news at the end of the day. So we turn to the voice of reason to guide us. JT, what is the voice of reason this week, man?
Give me some Velvet Freight Train music, will you? Yeah, I like that. So listen, we discussed a little earlier about, is it right to bring people with you? Is it right to give back to folks who have given to me? I want to tell you a resounding yes. If you have people who have invested into you, it is absolutely right to give back to them. And one of the things I want to talk to you about is make sure you check your heart when you give to other people. Because if you're giving to people with an ulterior motive, that limits your portion. People know when you got an ulterior motive. They can see it in your eyes. Oh, you got something else you're going to ask me, don't you? Where comes the okie doke, y'all? Where's the extra stuff? I know it's coming sometime. Where's the cold water? And that puts a strain on the relationship. But when you give to people freely, there's just something just so shackled free about that moment. Like when you step out of prison and all of a sudden you got all this space. You're not confined by these concrete walls anymore. And you can just run for miles. That's what it's like when you give unselfishly to people. Another thing I want to talk to you about is when you give, it's because you've been getting something. You can only give what you have. If you give an extra, then that means you can't give on credit when it comes to life, y'all. You know what I'm saying? You can only give what you got. If you don't have any peace, how can you give it to somebody else? But you can pursue peace with somebody and find it together. One of the things that I want to talk to you about, though, is what you get is part and portion of what you put out there. You reap what you sow. So if you out there planting a bunch of good deeds, you know those good deeds are going to come back to you. If you out there planting being an asshole to people, you're going to get a lot of assholery thrown right back in your face. And so if you want good, you got to go out there and be the change you want to see. And you're going to start getting some motion. You're going to start snowballing, and that's going to roll up your momentum with other people. And you're going to start seeing a whole bunch of folks who are giving unselfishly because somebody down the line showed them how to do it. Somebody down the line didn't have their claws in you trying to give just so you can go a little farther and drag them. What is this? The 5 fingers of death?
Prepare yourself, man. Just that breakdown. You never went this long. But you
I mean, I could monologue for a little bit, but I really want to get this down to y'all.
Yeah.
When you give unselfishly, you receive so much more. And we saw that the whole movie long was people trying to take. The only reason they're giving you something is because they want something back. That's the bait. And you can tell when you say no to people, that's how your real reaction. You say no to their gifts with them strings attached to it. That's how you can tell where you actually stand with folks, is their reaction at that moment. You call them on those ulterior motives. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Give free.